Hi, I'm Michael Elliott. I'm the Dean of Emory College of Arts and Sciences, which means that I'm your Dean. And it's a real pleasure to welcome the class of 2024 and other new students who are joining the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm an English professor who specializes in American literature. I'm the kind of guy who tries to get you to read Moby Dick and maybe even to like it. I first came to Emory in 1998 as an assistant professor. For those of you who need help with the math, that means I've been at Emory for 22 years. During that time, I've had a chance to teach all kinds of courses, to travel with Emory students across Atlanta and across the world. My family and I even lived for a while among the students on the Claremont campus. But I have never in that time experienced a fall semester like the one we are going to have in the fall of 2020. At Emory, we believe that we can have difficult conversations. So let me start with this. This has been a hard year. I know that many of you missed out on high school graduations or other plans for the summer that were canceled. And I know that none of you, not a single one, were planning to begin your time at Emory in this way. This is truly a historic moment. We are responding to two pandemics, the global COVID-19 pandemic and a national reckoning with a virulent pandemic of systemic racism. I don't want to pretend that this is an easy time to be a student. But it's also a time when we need people to lead, people who understand how to think about complicated problems from multiple perspectives, who understand how to interpret scientific and quantitative information, who understand how histories and cultures shape our world, and who can communicate and empathize with others from a wide range of backgrounds. That is what the liberal arts educates us to do. That is why we want you as our students at Emory. Not just because of what you will experience as Emory students, but because of what you'll accomplish as leaders and citizens long after you graduate. It's hard, though, to start college or even to continue college in the midst of these disruptive events. And I'm sure that many of you during this chaotic, crazy summer have been wondering about the purpose of being in college. What am I doing? Why? Those questions have been in the air even before COVID-19. People were asking about the cost of college, about the purpose of college. People were talking about blowing college up and starting over. And all of those questions and concerns really come down to one sentence. What is college for? I've already said a little bit about how we think about this at Emory. We think college is a preparation for a lifetime of meaning and consequence, to prepare you to be leaders in whatever profession you choose to advance the social good. But those are grand ideas, and you're going to have to think about what they mean for you. So sit with this question for a minute and ask yourself, for me, what is college for? I've already said a little about how we think about this at Emory. We think that college is a preparation for a lifetime of meaning and consequence, to prepare you to be leaders in whatever profession you choose to advance the social good. But those are grand ideas, and you are going to have to think about what they mean for you. So sit with this question for just a minute and ask yourself, for me, what is college for? It's a hard question. And one way that we understand hard questions like this one at Emory is to look to history. And one of the most important debates about the meaning and purpose of college took place in the United States over a century ago. And a lot of it took place through people with deep connections to Atlanta. Some of you might know who this is, this photograph. This is one of my intellectual heroes, W.E.B. Du Bois. Du Bois grew up after the Civil War in Massachusetts. He studied at Fisk University in Tennessee, and then at Harvard, and then in Germany. Du Bois was incredibly prolific, and he became the editor of The Crisis, the magazine of the NAACP. He was the one who wrote the book Souls of Black Folk, and in that book, he said that the problem of the 20th century would be the color line. And in fact, he wrote that book, The Souls of Black Folk, during a period when he was living in Atlanta as a professor at what's now called Clark Atlanta University. This was decades, unfortunately, before Emory or many other universities in the South began admitting African American students. As a professor and a social scientist and an activist. Du Bois developed strong views about the purpose of higher education, ideas that inspire me, and ideas that I think are important to all of us at Emory, no matter what our background or where we come from. You see, in the early 20th century, there were some people who believed that African Americans should not waste their time in college studying the liberal arts, studying subjects like literature, classical languages. You can't get a job that way, they say, and so you should focus on learning trades that are open to you. But Du Bois thought differently. Du Bois believed in the power of a broad education in the liberal arts and sciences, and he believed that it should be available to everyone who chooses to pursue it. He believed that the liberal arts, by training students to understand aesthetics, history, science, mathematics, created the kind of leaders that the world needed. Here are a few of his words. The function of the university is not simply to teach breadwinning or to furnish teachers for the public schools or to be a center of polite society. The final product of our training must be neither a psychologist nor a brick mason, but a man. Du Bois still had a little of the gendered sexist language of his time, so let's update this a little bit. But think about this phrase. The final product of our training must be neither a psychologist nor a brick mason, but a person. Here's another quotation from Du Bois. We must give our youth a training designed above all to make them men of power, of thought, of trained and cultivated taste, men who know whither civilization is tending and what it means. I like this phrase especially, to know whither civilization is tending and what it means. These are powerful ideas, and they can help us to think about what college is for. For some people in Du Bois's time, and in fact for some people now, college is just about preparing you to hold a job. But for Du Bois and for us at Emory, it's about something more. It's preparing you for a lifetime of challenge, a lifetime of significance, a lifetime with meaning. Yes, you will be ready to have a successful career when you leave Emory, but we want more than that for you. We want you to become whole people, to become leaders, to change, as Du Bois might say, the direction of civilization. My point is that this argument about college and its purpose that Du Bois was involved in has never really gone away. And if you listen carefully to it, you can still hear echoes of it today. At Emory, we side with Du Bois. We believe that society needs men and women who are prepared to think creatively and broadly about the world, and that without that foundation, our world would be a worse place. In part, that's what a liberal education in the arts and sciences is. It's about learning to think in certain ways and to master information that will allow you to have the intellectual and even the moral capacity to better the world, no matter what your profession turns out to be. We have over 500 faculty in the College of Arts and Sciences, and they disagree on just about everything. But this is what unites them. We might edit and update Du Bois just a little bit to say, the final product of our training must be neither a psychologist nor a brick mason, but a person, and that we want our graduates to know whither our society and our planet are tending and what it means. At Emory, that is what we believe college is for. You may have been working hard for so long to get into college, to start your time at Emory. Part of your work as students will be to figure out exactly what this means for you, how you will decide what college is for you. You can start yourself by asking some important questions. What kind of problems interest me? What challenges excite me? How do I want to change during the course of my time in college? What kind of person do I want to be when I graduate? These are questions that might seem simple, but in fact they're quite challenging. Your answers for them will change, and they'll also lead you to struggle. When you look at the websites and guidebooks for college, whether at Emory or someplace else, what you're going to see are happy groups of people smiling and laughing in the quad. Maybe you might see somebody studying intently in a library or looking determinedly over a beaker in a lab. But what you don't see are people lying awake at night, worrying about how to choose a major, looking anxious because they can't tell if they're doing the right thing. You won't see people wondering what their future is and staying up at night, worrying and struggling. But that's part of college too. These struggles are different for everyone, but virtually everybody goes through them during their time as a college student. That struggle is in fact essential to the college experience. And what's important is that you're not alone going through it. A college, a university, is not a set of buildings or even a physical place. We have always known this to be true, but it is now more true than ever in this pandemic time. College is about people, about bringing people together and connecting them. We are still committed to that, no matter what the coronavirus throws at us. Even with all of the challenges that this pandemic brings, we are still committed to making sure that you have access to the full network of people who can help you to succeed during your time as an Emory student and prepare you to succeed after you graduate. We know that this is going to require creativity, and we are going to have to work to find new ways to forge those connections. And that is exactly what we are going to do. College is about connecting with people, and that is not going to change. In particular, one thing we know is that students who are successful have something in common. They are able to connect with faculty. They connect with at least one of their professors in a meaningful way during their time in college. One of the most important things that I have to tell you right now is that as accomplished as your faculty are, they have also faced challenges and difficulties during their path to success. Let me give you just a few examples from our faculty. This is a picture of Carol Anderson, historian, writer, and chair of African American Studies. She is such a successful writer right now. She's written best-selling books on the history of race and racism and won more major awards than I can count. When she's not teaching here at Emory, she's busy talking to government officials or to people like Trevor Noah on The Daily Show. I like to tell people that she's the only member of the faculty who canceled a meeting with me, her dean, because she was too busy briefing members of the United States Senate. That's how successful she is. That's how successful she is now. But when she tried to write her first book, her editor hated the manuscript so much that he wouldn't even send it out for review, let alone publish it. This is a photograph of Dennis Leota. Dennis Leota is a chemist who specializes in drug discovery. He holds more than 75 patents. He's in the National Academy of Inventors. He now works with scientists all over the world, including South Africa, to teach them how to pursue drug discovery. He's best known here at Emory as one of the leaders of the team that discovered the antiviral drug Emtreva, an HIV treatment that more than 90% of HIV-positive patients in the United States take. It's no exaggeration to say that Dennis Leota's chemistry has touched millions of lives and improved them. Now, lots of people know about that, but what they don't know is this. When the young Dennis Leota was in college, he received a C in organic chemistry. Here's one more story. This is Greg Burns, a professor of psychology. Greg Burns is a pioneer in neuroeconomics, understanding the biological basis of how we make decisions. To do this, he studies the way that brains behave in functional MRI machines. He's also one of the first scientists to ever use one of these machines to study canine cognitive function in awake, unrestrained dogs. Through this, he's discovered things about the way that dogs think and feel that are changing how we understand the lives of all mammals. It's extraordinary research, and it takes place here on our campus. But when Greg was in college, he actually thought he wanted to be an astronomer, looking outward instead of inward. So he spent a summer at an observatory, and he hated it so much that he nearly dropped out of college altogether. I'm not telling you these stories because I want you to be impressed by how much our faculty have accomplished, but because I want you to know that behind their accomplishments are doubts, challenges, changes, twists, and turns that are a lot like what you will be experiencing as Emory students. And I want you to know that your faculty can help you, will help you through them. In the weeks to come, you'll have a chance to meet faculty not only in your classes, but in one-on-one interactions. If you're not sure how to approach them, and I know it can be hard to get started, you can always begin with something really basic. You can ask them questions like, did you ever change your mind in college? How did you get interested in your subject? What obstacles did you overcome? Did you ever think about doing something else? In the best of times, it's easy to think that everyone in college knows exactly what they're doing and how they're going to get there. How many times have you all been asked already, what are you planning to study or to major in? Or even, what are you going to do when you graduate? Here's what's important. It is okay to be unsure. It is okay to be undecided. It is okay to change your mind multiple times. College is not for just picking one direction and sticking with it. College is about understanding the world in new ways and learning to work with others to interpret difficult information. College is about getting ready for a lifetime of meaningful work in a world that's rapidly changing. Many of you will go on to work in professions and jobs that have not yet been invented. You will live to see things that we can barely imagine now. Living to work through uncertainty, ambiguity, difficulty, that's not an incidental speed bump on your journey through college. That is what college is for. Let's not be mistaken. This is a special time to be in college. And to the members of the class of 2024, you are a special class. You are entering college under circumstances that are truly unprecedented. You're facing a world that has been damaged by the coronavirus and that is rising up in response to the violence of racism that has wreaked havoc on generations. I know this is a hard time to do this, and that you're probably all feeling acutely a sense of loss, the difference between what you imagined and what you see before you. I also believe that this is a historic moment, and that a moment like this one can shape you and even give you special opportunities that no other generation of Emory students has ever had. You will be the generations of students who will carry this with you, this time, this history, in a special way. You will be the generation that will ensure that the memory of 2020 is never lost, and that you will be the ones who will remake the world after COVID-19. Today, we are not just launching you on your pathways through Emory, we are beginning the work of preparing you to take leadership in a world that badly needs you. Welcome, class of 2024. As many challenges as we face, I have never welcomed a class whose time will be more important. Never have we had a class with such potential and purpose, and never have I been more excited to welcome a class of students. Good luck to you, thank you, and welcome again to Emory.